You can hear me? Can you hear me? Everybody hear me? Hi. How is everybody? Good. Well, welcome to the celebration of Norman and Ruby Rutzen, 70 years of marriage. Come on now.
Yeah, give it up.
It's always important to know who the players are, so I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Joshua, the favorite grandchild Rutzen.
I'm Kalen Haruza, the actual favorite grandson.
Okay, let's put this to rest, Kalen. You've said that before. We've done this before. I'm clearly the favorite. I'm the firstborn, clearly the funniest. They laughed way harder for me.
Yeah, I mean, you're funny, but looks aren't everything,
Okay,
Josh.
yeah, okay, all right.
I live here. You live how many miles away?
I mean, okay,
Right,
that's fair. 1,500 miles away. I was married here, right here, in the church.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I lived with Grandma and Grandpa.
You lived with them? Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I did. I don't
I've
anymore.
preached on this stage. That's clearly the favorite.
I've done that too.
I mean, you had to, we had three kids.
I didn't
you had
ask
to,
to preach,
catch
but they
up.
made me preach.
Boys. It's so sweet. You do this every year, every family gathering. They always have to talk about who's the favorite. And we really know that Hattie and I are the favorites. That's what we really know.
That's true.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
you win.
Okay.
You win.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You
Thank
win,
you.
Christy Lynn. Okay, good. Yes.
Just sit down, favorite.
Yeah, you have put the argument to rest clearly. I mean, you live here, you've preached here, you sing here, you all the things.
You're prettier than we are.
And great-grandson is on the way. So
Oh, dang, okay.
that tops
Okay,
it.
all right. You win. We're done. That argument is put to bed. No,
Norman's a good first name. I don't know. That might seal it.
Good.
Just putting it out there.
Good. Yeah. Well, we are so thrilled to have everyone here. We want to get, so now that you know who we are, and we want to get to know everyone a little bit. So will you raise your hand if your primary residence is not in Idaho? Raise your hand. Good grief.
That's awesome.
Let's give them a hand. Thank you so much for traveling. Raise your hand if you were able to drive here, though, from out of town, not in the state of Idaho. Driving, okay? Got some road warriors. Who flew? Who had to fly in for? Okay, good. That's amazing. So excited. All right. The next thing that we want to do, if you all are open-minded, is we want to get to know. Today is a celebration of marriage. Today is a celebration of 70 years of a couple deciding day in and day out to be and remain in love through thick and thin. So we also want to honor the other marriages in the room. So if you are married, could you please, if you're able to, please stand. Wow, that's awesome, okay?
Awesome.
Remain standing if you've been married for 10 years or longer. Okay? Wow. Remain standing if you've been married 20 years or longer. Good grief. Grandma, Grandpa, you seeing this? Remain standing if you've been married 30 years or longer. Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere. Remain standing if you've been married 40 years or longer. Good grief. Okay. I thought this was going to go a lot faster. Remain standing if you have been married 50 years or longer. Okay. Remain standing if you've been married 60 years or longer. Wow. And stay on your feet if you've been married 70 years or longer.
Yeah. There they are.
Wow, that is so cool. Oh man, that is great. We were at a rodeo of like 30,000 people and that didn't even last that long. So that is amazing. That's incredible. What a testament. What an absolute testament. Well, to introduce you to our all-stars, to talk about their marriage and so that you know a little bit more about them and the opportunity, let's go over. Kaylin, you want to take it away for Grandpa?
Yeah. So Norman Rutzen was born April 25th, 1934. Born in Eldora, Iowa. Born to Selma Rutzen.
And Grandma, okay, well, Ruby Rutzen. If I say Grandma, I mean Ruby Rutzen, okay? Let's just get that out of the way because that's going to happen a lot. Was born on May 31st, 1935 in Rupert, Idaho. Oh, come on, shout it out for Rupert. Okay, represent.
It's another reason why I'm the favorite. I was born there too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're just going to resurrect that conversation again. Okay, no problem.
Don't worry about it, Josh.
To Hattie Yaden. And so, we are also celebrating 89 years and 90 years, respectively, of health and longevity, also as a part of this celebration as well, both celebrating a life well lived, as well as 70 years of marriage. Okay, so let's go. Let's move on. And Kaylin, have you ever thought that, like, if Grandma and Grandpa hadn't,
Josh.
Well,
Come
but
on,
seriously, like, has it ever
We're in a
crossed your
church.
mind that Grandma and Grandpa have, if they didn't,
Josh, don't talk about that, man.
if they didn't kiss,
Oh,
I
okay,
meant kiss.
okay,
If they
all
didn't
right.
kiss,
All right.
none of us would be here, right? Have you ever,
Okay,
did that
all
ever
right.
cross
I didn't know where
your
you were
mind?
going. I wasn't making sure that you're good, man. I didn't know where you were going. Sorry, Grandma and Grandpa.
Don't make it weird.
Josh is out of control.
Don't make it weird. But if you do a little math, okay, 70 years, 365 days a year. For 70 years, what is it? What's that number? What's that number? Well, I didn't do my math right.
999,000.
999.
Yeah, 999.
Yeah, 999,909, 99,999.
99,999. Do it again.
Okay, hang on. 70 years, 3 kisses a day.
3 kisses a day, is that right?
3 kisses a day on average. Okay, some days there was some fighting going on, right? Yeah. Some days there was not so much fighting going on.
It's the law of averages.
So if you do the math, according to my calculator, we're at 99,999 kisses. Who would like to see the 100,000th kiss?
Grandma and Grandpa,
Come on, Grandpa.
please stand up.
Give Grandma a smooch.
Wait, stand up, stand up.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you do the math,
Lay
it
a big
comes out
sloppy
to
one on her, Grandpa.
99,999 kisses. You are about to experience the 100,000th kiss.
Lay one on her. Yeah.
All right, good. Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, the record has been set. The record has been set. 99,999. Good. And so the other thing that we wanted to talk about is to give you an idea of just how long 70 years is.
I was doing some math too, Josh. I did this the other day. It took me like 3 days, but I finally got it. So the average human walks 3 miles an hour just normally, okay? If you did that nonstop when you got married 70 years ago, if you continued to walk, you would, so 3.
Yeah. So 3 miles per hour.
Yeah, times.
If you were to start walking at the beginning of their marriage and just never stop, okay?
Was that a Friday?
Yeah, I hate fractions, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so it says 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 plus 6 plus. So you would be able to walk from here to the moon, back and forth 4.5 times.
Wow. So that song,
Don't ask me how we got there.
To the moon and back, baby, 4 times, 70 years. That's amazing. So that'll give you an idea of just how long they've been married. If they started walking when they first were married, they'd have made it to the moon and back 4 times. Good. Okay. But enough of us. I mean, I think everybody's having a good time, but enough of us. Let's hear from Grandma and Grandpa on how they met and more of their story.
We didn't go to shows and we didn't dance and all those things. We went to church a lot. My dad says, Ruby, why don't you, and I was out of high school. He said, why don't you go with somebody nice like Norman Rutzen? I said, Norman Rutzen? I said, are you kidding me? He's a preacher and Norman was a very serious Christian. He was a serious Christian. And I really wasn't at that point. But anyway, we had met. He'd come through with some friends from a Bible college, isn't that right? Mm-hmm. First time. And he was going with a beautiful lady. Her name was Becky. And she could preach and teach, and she was beautiful. And I thought that was a done deal for this man. And I was kind of with a little beer drinker running around. I wasn't a beer drinker, he was a beer drinker. But anyway, we broke up. And my dad was just really wanting me to settle into something better. So anyway, Norm came through again and I met him again. And I was not interested, but then I eventually went to Bible college after I graduated from high school. And he drove up in front of the college with another young man named Wayne Nye. He and Wayne were good friends and loved each other. And a group of us were standing by the door when they came in, and I guess that the gift that my grandmother had hit me, and I knew that's the man I'm going to marry.
So that is from Grandma's perspective, and yes, everybody can just relax. He was the beer drinker, she wasn't the beer drinker.
Grandma did race her dad's car one. Okay, sorry, I won't tell that story, Grandma.
Yeah, we got lots of stories.
Oh yeah, we can tell it.
But now we want to give you the perspective of Grandpa and what his recollection of the story was, because of course we all have our own story. Everybody lives in a 2-story house, our story and their story, right? But didn't you mentioned to me something fun, like I thought there were only 2 rings in a marriage, but you had...
Yeah, so my pastor, my grandpa's been my pastor and he always preached, and so I thought of something that maybe I could preach about, and the sermon that I was gonna come up was the 3 rings of marriage. It's the engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the suffering. So, that's my next sermon.
Good. I don't think that's the perspective he has, but why don't we go and see what Grandpa has to say?
The pivot point, and I think our relationship from my perspective was what she referred to the first day of opening classes at Conquer's Bible College in Portland. And when she walked in and I saw her, I thought, wow, I'm in the right place at the right time. And this is about the prettiest girl I've ever seen. And so at any rate, I think almost from the get-go, start, we felt attraction, I did, towards her. And I was asked to be the editor. That was the pioneer class of Conquerors Bible College. They had just opened it. They asked me to be editor of the first yearbook. And so I accepted. And I had photography experience, so I did most of the photography for the yearbook. And of course, they allowed me to choose who I needed to help with getting the book together. And of course, that was, I think, the first key the Lord gave me. I appointed her as the secretary and assistant of the yearbook project. So that gave us a chance to be together more than I think any of the other students.
Well, tell them the dating policy to begin with.
The regulations then was you got 1 date a month, and
Chaperone.
you had to have a chaperone. Had to be adult, and I think preferably a staff member. So that isn't conducive to a really serious romance, but it worked out tremendously because we had an awful lot of annual business. So we got to spend a lot of hours in the little office there that I had because we had to take care of annual business. And I'll confess that there was a lot of hours spent there that was other than about the annual.
Grandpa.
Oh, breaking the rules,
The
Papa.
scandal. You are going to have to slide into headfirst into heaven, young man. That is amazing. Wow. He's usually you find the staff member and but you just hired the staff member and started dating her. Yeah.
Smart
good.
man.
Smart man. Yeah. Well, good. Well, we want to give them the opportunity to finish their story. There's one more component to this, but as you can see, their story is extremely real. These were two individuals who, in the time and the culture and the space of time, saw each other, were attracted, began falling in love, and here we are 70 years later. But why don't we go ahead and see how this how the courtship finished?
And so that's how our romance started. We just had our 1 date a month. And I remember on that first date, the first time I held Ruby's hand, I thought, wow, this is such a tiny little hand. But I remember the first time I held hands with her. And so anyway, it developed through the year, and it was getting spring. We was getting serious, and so part of the annual business was this big decision of the editor and the secretary making some plans of their own. And so we started talking about marriage, and we felt, I think, in agreement that it was the Lord's will, the Lord's plan, and so we...
Well, you graduated that same year from Bible college, and I was my
well,
first
but this
year.
is leading up to that. And so anyway, we decided, well, we'd get married right after school was out. Our plans was that both of us would go to work in the cannery, which I'd been doing every year to work my way through Bible school. And so anyway, we had to pull off some kind of a deal to get married right after school's out. And you was not allowed to get engaged during school. That was another regulation of school. And so Ernest Moyer was the president. So we went in and had a talk with him because we wanted to send out wedding announcements. So we sat down in his office and I told him that a little resume of that we had fell in love. We felt like it was in the will of the Lord that we join our lives together and get married. and we wanted permission to send out wedding announcements. And we was going to get married a week after school was out.
Oh, Lord.
Because some of the ones who we wanted in our wedding had to go to their jobs and do their summer stuff. And so the best way to do that would be have it the week after school was out and everybody could then go do their thing. So when we mentioned sending out wedding announcements, he threw up his hand. Oh, no, no, no. He said, you can't do that. So anyway, however it happened, we kept talking, kept negotiating, and he finally decided,
Yeah.
well, it was a good thing. So he said, well, okay, I'll let you send out announcements a week
ahead.
before school was out. So we got our announcements set out, and we had, I think, had I wouldn't call it ideal, but it was a very wonderful time for us to have a chance to really get to know each other and get acquainted. We spent hours visiting together, and I felt like the Lord had put that open door for us of the project of the yearbook. And so at any rate, we made our plans, drove to Twin Falls, and I remember that I asked my father-in-law if he would consider loaning me $50. I hadn't, of course, my money was spent as far as school was concerned, and hadn't had a chance to work. So I do remember I asked him to borrow $50 to get married on.
To get married on.
Yeah, to get married on.
Well, you asked him for that you could marry me first. Don't forget that. And
Oh.
we went to a restaurant, and we were sitting there. We took Mom and Dad out, and he was going to ask Dad for my hand. That's what you did those days. And we had eaten, and we were sitting there, and finally my dad looked at him and says, Norm, you got something you want to say? Dad was kind of to the point, and Norm told him that we wanted to get married. Of course, my dad and Mom were so excited. They loved this man, and thought I'd made a good choice. So
He teased me, I think, the rest of our
yeah.
our married life about me paying back that $50 I borrowed. I tried to tell him I did, but he'd kind of have fun questioning me about it.
We weren't able to date too much because we didn't go to show.
Yeah, good. So, Grandpa, just to put this to bed, put this to rest, right? You didn't say, can I borrow $50 and then can I marry your daughter, right? It was, can I marry your daughter and then can I borrow $50, right? Just making sure the order of things got understood. Okay, good. Well, good. Well, now you can see their courtship. Now you know their story. Now you know a little bit more about the backstory of how they found one another and how they found one another and how they got together. We're going to fast forward just a little bit, jump the wedding for a minute, and we're going to talk for just a second because a marriage is 100% about two people coming together in the sight of God. And we see in the Bible how it is talked about how we are called the bride of Christ. And so the marriage, the sanctity of the marriage, the relationship, the bond, and the oath that is made is representative of our relationship with Jesus Christ. And it's extremely powerful. And so we don't take today lightly. We're having a lot of fun. But the idea that you stay together for 70 years is not only absolutely incredible, but it is also a representation of creation. And so you have had children, you've had 3 children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And so we want to take a few minutes and hear from some of them. And so from the first-born child of my grandparents is Norman Eugene Rutzen, and nicknamed Bo. He was born on March 14th, 1956 in McCall, Idaho. Keep that in mind, McCall, okay? Everybody note that. And so I would like to invite my lovely bride up. You don't have to say anything, I promise. Come on up. And bring the stool. Just sit with me. Just come sit with me. So I have the opportunity of speaking on behalf of in representation of my dad's side of the family. So this is my lovely wife, Amy Rutzen, and we were married on October 23rd, 2014. So we will be celebrating 20 years in October.
Josh, how many kisses is that?
Huh?
How many kisses is that?
Not 100,000. Well, you want to add one real quick? Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Wingman.
So 20 years in October, and we were actually married right here in the church on this platform, standing right here. And so, you know, to tell the story, Grandma and I were reminiscing actually this trip about how my childhood. I spent a whole bunch of my childhood. I actually talked to Matthew just a little bit about some stories from our childhood and growing up in this area, what it meant. But there's little pavers out in front of my grandparents' house, the little stepping stones that you go from the sidewalk, these little stepping stones that have been here forever, out into the dirt area where you park. And my grandma was telling me a story about how she would, when I was very little, that's how she taught me to count, was we would go and I would step and hop on these stepping stones. And so to have a legacy from my grandparents to say, you know, I knew you when we were teaching you how to count, the fundamental, the rudimentary, the elementary, all the way till sitting here with my beautiful bride and celebrating 70 years of marriage is something that not a lot of people get the opportunity to talk about. So I wanted to let you know that I'm extremely grateful. And I have the opportunity of sharing a little bit more later, so I'm going to hang on to some of some things. But I will tell you this: we've had 3 children, and they're sitting right here on the front row. And we have lived in multiple states. We've had a lot of life in 20 years. And just to give you perspective, Amy and I get to do our marriage again, and then a half once more to be able to get to the spot that they're sitting, which is just unbelievable. And so on behalf of Amy and I and your grandchildren, or your great-grandchildren and my children, thank you for 70 committed, faithful years being married. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah. Okay. And so together we get to talk about, for Renee's family, you want to go ahead and give the stats?
Yeah. My Aunt Nene, born in Rupert, Idaho. Think about that, Rupert, remember? December 26th, day after Christmas, 1958.
So to talk about their family and represent their family, we're going to have Christy Lynn and her husband Ryan come up and share a little bit about their experience.
I don't have anything really clever to say right now. I was trying to be creative, but I'm not as quick as my cousins, so sorry, nothing creative. Just thinking about my grandparents, we have the amazing opportunity to share a favorite story about them. And when thinking about that, I was processing with Ryan, and I was like, I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite story about my grandparents. It really is just the life they've lived in front of me in so many moments. And the things that have meant the world to me are being able to walk in, and sweet mercy, I am very pregnant, well, not very pregnant right now, but I'm pregnant and hormones are real, so I'm probably gonna cry a lot. But just the reality of getting to walk in every Sunday morning, and I'll be practicing, and here comes my grandma and papa, and they walk in the church with the biggest smiles on their face and have been such a pillar, and getting to witness that and watch that. And when they're worshiping the Lord, and you just look over and see a life of faithfulness to Jesus, it is the greatest privilege and honor. And I can just think of so many moments with you guys where even after my brother passed away, I remember staying the night at your house and being able to sit at your kitchen table, and just the love and comfort that you've always brought. You've been the most faithful grandparents in every season of life for us. You've lived life in front of us of what it looks like to live life to the fullest, to walk with Jesus, to love your family, to love each other and have fun throughout the process. So what I'm most thankful for and what I treasure are every moment of intentionality that you've lived before me, and the incredible privilege of being raised in the same state as you guys and living down the street from you, and the calls to help with the garden and all those things in between have meant more than anything. So we just love you guys so much. And Ryan has a story about Grandma for you.
Yeah, I'm Ryan. I've been a part of the family. We've been married a little over 2 years now. And I've been a part of the family, I guess, 3 years about. And if you've married into this family, you know that there's a lot of people you have to go through because it's a very, very large family. And that's just an exaggeration. Yeah, it goes on and on. But I remember in some of the early days of us dating, Christy and I usually sit right here during the church service, and Norman and Ruby sit over there. And I think we've been dating for a little while, and I was like, okay, I'm going to, maybe show some form of affection, And so I put my arm on Christy's leg, and she smacked it off, and she said, "Not here." I was like, okay. Yes, ma'am. And not long after that, Ruby was talking to me, and she said, you guys look like robots over there. You need to show some affection or something. And I told her what happened. I was like, I don't know if I can try that again. And so I tried again. I put my arm around her, and it worked. And I looked over at Ruby, and she was smiling. She gave me the thumbs up. And so I guess I knew at that point I had got some approval. But in all seriousness, though, it's been such a joy and an honor to marry into a family like this, where we have such a great legacy that it's so true. Just what has been trickled down from the top. We've talked a lot about it in this season of pregnancy. Just the blessing that we get to walk in, the legacy that we get to walk in because of the path that you guys have paved. And so we cannot express enough the gratitude that we have, and that's going to continue on for years and years to come. And even as we were sitting in the gym, we both said, man, I hope that when we're 70 years in, that we have something like this, to show for what we've done. So we love you guys so much, and we appreciate you so much, and I know everybody in this room does as well. So thank you.
Good job, favorite.
Ryan, she probably gave you the advice just to hire as the senior editor or secretary editor or whatever, too. Yeah. Good.
Okay, so I get the privilege to introduce the youngest child, my mom, Valerie. She was born in Pendleton, Oregon on May 4th, 1965. If you know the family and you've been around for a long time, you know that each child, it's kind of a birth order thing. They get, Uncle Bo is kind of the leader, and Nene is like the spiritual glue that keeps the family together. And my mom was always like the fun and playful, joyful one, and her middle name is Joy. So that's kind of how, it's kind of funny that it was that way. But I get to talk about Grandma and Grandpa, and I have a lot of things that I could say because I have so many memories. But one thing that I really appreciated about my Grandma and Grandpa is that they really taught us the small things, the details that people didn't really take time to care about sometimes, like the manners. I used to go over to my grandparents' house and sit down for dinner and eat, and my grandpa would tell me to pull the chair out and to shut the door for a lady and open the door for a lady and do all the manners things. And my personal favorite was take smaller bites and don't talk with your mouth full. And I remember, I think it was my grandma or my grandpa said, if you're never gonna go steady with a girl if you eat like that, Kaylin. So I just wanted to say, joke's on you. I have a wife, Jessica, and she puts up with my eating and taking Big bites, yeah. So anyway, Jess, do you want to come up here for a second? Manners, man. Anyway, so I mean, as far as us, we love Grandma and Grandpa. We have a daughter named Ruby, and we lived in their basement, and for a little while, and we've just looked up to them in every way. It's been, I think every one of the grandkids have lived in Grandma and Grandpa's basement. I think so. Yeah, there you go. We were all broke. Anyway, my grandma and grandpa just have so much to teach us and such a legacy. And I think the one thing that Jess and I really have taken away from grandma and grandpa is just the power of prayer. I don't know if I got hormones too. Christy, you left some up here. You left some of those up here. I don't know. Anyway, my grandma and grandpa just prayed for us constantly. And that's something that we try to do, is just pray for our kids and pray for the people around us. My grandma and my grandpa have, they are just really tight with the Lord. I think I remember multiple nights where my grandma would be woken up in the night wanting to pray for me and call me and, Kaylin, I know you're not doing good, so I'm praying for you, It's like, how did you know that? It's 3 a.m., she would stay up. Me and my cousins would go out and have fun and do some pranking and come into the house sneaking as quiet as we can, and Grandma would be there. We didn't know, but she'd say, hello, boys. Well, oh my gosh, why are you up at 3 a.m., Grandma? Anyway, but just the intimate relationship with the Lord and being able to pray and intercede for our families and really just give our family a fighting chance because of their leadership and faith.
And so we have a second representing the generation of Valerie. So we'd like to invite Yaden Haruza to come up.
I'll get it.
You got it. Yeah.
You're not the favorite.
I'm not even going to try to attempt that I'm the favorite. I'm not. And neither is Kaylin. Okay?
Yeah,
Kaylin's not the favorite either. Josh, he's definitely up there, but the girls, I would say. That's
Josh
where my
is a
vote
girl.
is. Girls who win. But I'm just so honored to be here. I love my grandma and grandpa. They are the absolute best. Kaylin told me this was a roast, so I found out that it's not, so I need to change up what I'm going to say tonight. But no, I'm just so thankful for my grandma and grandpa. A quick story. You've probably heard this. I think I've told this story up on this stage before, but I spent a lot of time, me and Christy Lynn, we spent a lot of time with grandma growing up. We would always get asked if we were, twins or siblings, and we were with grandma all the time. And we'd love that. We're so thankful for that. But grandma would teach us board games, and I'm still not very good at board games. But my grandma was teaching me how to play checkers, and she was going easy on me. I didn't know this, but she was kind of teaching me how to play and how to maneuver, my pieces on the board. And she was setting me up, but she was letting me win. And I thought I was just good. And she's letting me win, and I'm like getting pretty confident. I'm like, oh, I got this. I'm whooping grandma. And then she's like, all right, Aiden, I'm gonna start playing a little bit harder. And I was like, all right, bring it on, grandma. And she jumped me 3 times in a row on the next move. And I just filled with rage, and I flipped the checkers board. And I was so mad. I'm like, grandma set me up. This is a trick. And that's just something me and my grandma, we laugh about, even to this day. It was just a special moment, but we got to spend a lot of time together. I also think I'm the only grandchild that got spanked by grandpa as well. So definitely not the favorite, but no, I'm really honored to call you guys my grandparents. I'm very proud of you. 7 years of marriage, that's very impressive. Very impressive. On Monday, my wife and I are celebrating. My wife, will you stand up, babe? Yeah, that's Natasha. She's taking pictures. So, but on Monday, we're celebrating 7 years. And so we got a long ways to go, but we're just so honored. Your guys' devotion to the Lord and to God's people is really unmatched. I mean, you guys have unwaveringly just given your lives to oh, this is my beautiful daughter, Selah. Come on, baby. But you guys have given your lives, and you're such a great example to us, and we're just, we admire you and how you raise your kids, and how you constantly have just prayed for all of us, your grandkids, your great-grandkids. And, we aspire, there's both my kids. We aspire to be like you. We're so proud of you. I know that in my marriage, I do my best to treat my spouse just like Grandpa treats you. Even now, I mean, we were talking just a minute ago, Grandpa always holds Grandma's hand, and he's always opening the door for her. He's making sure she gets her food first, and he's just a gentleman. And we're so honored by you guys, and we love you so much.
Good job. Great job, Yaden. You know, the theme, and Ryan said it, definitely like him to be wise and poignant, is legacy, right? And so often we get focused on, I'm guilty of it, I believe just about everybody probably in the room is guilty of it, getting focused on our legacy being other things, whether it's things we do or, being famous or having stuff or whatever. But the legacy, I mean, it was a beautiful picture to have Yaden standing up there and his kids wanting to be with him, right? And that's what this is all about, is legacy. And so it's important to note that after Val was born in Pendleton, then they came to Caldwell, which is where they came to Caldwell in 1971, and they've been here ever since, pastoring this church, growing, serving people, loving people, and so now we're caught up. So I would like to get back into the time machine now that you've seen their legacy, the children that they've had, and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And would everybody like to see the actual wedding day? Sound good? Okay. Let's take a look at what that day actually looked like.
Take me back to May of '54. I said these old words from a tender heart, and words with them witnessed and heard by these rings on our wrinkled fingers. We built a life that's true. I promised you I will love you to the end. I meant it back then, and still holding your hand and whisper these words. Oh, I love you. And with this love, I promise you that I would hold you close until the end of time. The special bond, it'll never break, because the love we share, no one can take. Oh, how I love you with every beat of my heart. And my next breath, drew my promise I'd renew. I'm so glad I said it then, and now those words are true. And looking back at the road that we traveled, I thank my God for the life we had and the moments that we shared. I told you that I love you. With this love, I promise you that I would hold you close until the end of time. The special bond, it'll never break. Because the love we share, no one can take. Oh, how I love you with every beat of my heart. With every moment of love's embrace, in your eyes I see grace. This bond we have, it cannot break. It gets stronger every day. And when these tender hearts are through, the beating stops and all is due. Before our Savior's face we stand, we'll hear these words again. I love you. With this love, I promise you that I would hold you close to the end of time. The special bond, it'll never break. Because the love we have, no one can take. Oh, I love you.
And if you're thinking to yourself that you have never heard that song before, I want to honor my father. He actually had that custom written by a young man in our church just for this event. So great job, Dad. So my grandparents were married. Our grandparents were married in Twin Falls, Idaho, officiated by C.H. Yaden. The gentleman who walked my grandmother down the aisle was her grandfather, so that her father could officiate the wedding. And we told you to note where they were at the time, that they all had children. And so the first church that they ever pastored, they did so 7 days following their honeymoon. So they got married, honeymoon, and when they drove back home, they did so to McCall, Idaho for their first church where they lived in a parsonage.
The second church, and make note, that was where Uncle Bo was born. Second church was in Rupert, Idaho, where they also lived in a parsonage, which is where my Aunt Nene came.
And the third church that they pastored was in Pendleton. This is where they were able to actually live in their first home that they owned. Our great-grandma Rutzen, Selma, gave them $1,000 for the down payment of that home. And that was in Pendleton, which, if you'll remember, was where my Aunt Val was born.
And the fourth church was here in Caldwell, off of Ward Lane. And they lived in a 14-foot wide trailer to start. They also lived in a basement home. They lived in a home here in Caldwell that caught on fire. And then after that, in 1981, they got the permit for the house that they live in now.
And that's where they currently reside, and they have so for the last, 43 years. Mm-hmm. So if you start doing the math, that means that they would go pastor a new church and then have a kid. So what was that all about? When the Bible says to bear fruit, like there's a lot of context to that. But no, they would, the courage that it took to go and start a church, pastor a group of people, and raise a family at the same time is no joke. We all know starting jobs, moving to new towns and new cities, making new friends, doing things, and then raising children all along the way is not easy.
And keep in mind, they were young. My grandma told me a story that the house in McCall actually had a real wood stove. And so cooking, learning to cook on a wood stove even was tough. And she did it all the time. She said horrible just now. She said it was horrible. I can read lips, Grandma.
They ministered in 22 countries, and they built the, you can do that one.
Yeah, they built Bethel Park in McCall, Idaho, which was a campground that our church attended for many years. A lot of us went to that camp, met God there, received the Holy Spirit. So that was a really special place in our growing up.
And then when they drove away on that day, on their wedding day, they did so in an 88 Oldsmobile Rocket, dark blue. And that was the closest that we could get to the actual car there. So validated and checked with Grandpa, making sure it was the right one. So as you can see, life has not been easy, but it has been amazing. Life has not always been as we planned, but the Lord always has a plan. And so in asking Grandma and Grandpa for some ingredients to belong, the ingredients to make a happy marriage, they gave some absolutely poignant advice. So we'll start, if you want to write these down and take notes, these are super important. Eggs, bacon, and toast for breakfast every morning for 70 years. A full belly means a full heart.
Floral colored shirts as a wardrobe staple. You've got a lifetime pass to Flora and Fauna gun show, baby.
Curlers in your hair every Saturday night. Give him something to have to repent to about on Sunday morning.
Build a fountain. Oh, so many fountains. Outside, inside, doesn't matter. There's never too many.
Be sure to look at tractors the same way you look at your new bride on your honeymoon. Look at those buckets on that one. You see that girl's got tracks. See, you can't tell which one I'm talking about. Is he talking about a girl or a tractor?
Chirp and growl as a legitimate form of couples communication. This love talk shorthand gets your message across quickly and clearly, expressing both clarity and intention to your partner. Nothing will get missed, I promise.
If you don't know what chirp and growl is, it's just the noises that are made and communicated. It's pretty amazing. So, chirp and growl. Order a dish of lemon wedges with your waiter. Most servers appreciate sign language to help them get the order right. You gotta have Grandpa a dish of lemons, a bowl of lemons.
A dish of lemon wedges. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. So husbands, leave the house every day at exactly the same time, twice a day, to turn on and turn off the irrigation water for the ball field. Drives the ladies wild.
And more seriously, always kiss goodbye and always kiss hello. There is very few times that I have seen one or the other leave the house or leave each other's presence without giving each other a little bit of affection.
And make sure to always hold hands. The one thing that my grandparents always did was hold hands. We have many pictures with my grandparents holding hands. In the video, if you didn't notice, the entire time they were holding hands. It's been something that we've always admired about my grandpa and grandma. And my grandpa has awesome big hands.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Big old hands.
True. Love hard. And love is not always easy. Love is hard. Love is difficult. Fight well. Fight fair. There are going to be fights, but if we fight and then we always make up, we'll make it to 70 years.
And serve faithfully. It's always been something that we've admired and seen you guys do, is to serve faithfully, and it's become something that we strive for as your grandkids, is just to serve and to help people.
And always, in your marriage, build something bigger than yourself. Whether that be a family, whether that be partially the career, the ministry. This room is full of people because Grandma and Grandpa, you faithfully served, you loved hard, and you built something bigger than yourselves, and for that, we honor you. And because, as it's important to symbolize these moments, we have some gifts.
Close your eyes.
So for my grandmother, we have a beautiful necklace. This necklace, this diamond necklace, is called the Journey. And there are 7 diamonds in the shape of a path for you to always remember the journey that you've been on and where you're going. So we wanted to tell you that we love you. Nene, would you come? God, would you come? Put this on Grandma. Here. Yeah, I'm not going to do it either. I got those big Rutzen hands. Forget about it. Yeah, do it. And then invite my dad.
And for Papa, this is it's a Henry Big Boy 44 mag with the big loop, because you're a cowboy. And on it says, Norman Lewis Rutzen, in honor of 70 years of marriage from all generations, those present and those yet to come. And I'd like to have Uncle Bo, if you could come present it to him. That's a good saddle gun, Grandpa.
Yep. Be careful, it's loaded. Yeah.
We're gonna shoot pigeons.
Jeez. Oh, man. I should not have a microphone ever. My grandparents have asked that they are able to have a few minutes to share their gratitude to everyone here. So we would like to invite them up at this time, if you want to grab that for me.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to have them on the stage.
Oh, okay.
We'll go, yeah.
We'll bring the stools down here.
You want to do
Stay
that?
down here, yeah. Manners, Josh, manners. I didn't say anything, Grandma.
First of all, I want to recognize my brother, Sam, that we're the only left out of 6 of us. Sam, this is my youngest brother, and I was just old enough to be motherly to him. And we're still here, Sam, and we haven't killed each other or anybody else, so what can you say? Oh, you want to say that in the microphone? There's a lot of things we don't talk about. Anyway. Okay, go ahead. I want to be sure. And his son too, Brian, my nephew. I think you're my oldest. Stand up, you guys. Yeah, stand up. Yeah, he's a fabulous guy. He's taking care of his dad really well, and I don't know. We're the last of the bunch, and I call him to see if he's dead yet, and he's not, so we talk. And I'm not either. Anyway. Oh, don't turn me loose. You better start talking.
Well, I just want to, first of all, express our gratitude and thankfulness for all of you that have come today. This means a lot to us. Our lives have been basically dedicated to serving God's people, and to see so many of you that have meant so much to us through the years, that we've shared experiences, we've shared difficulties, we've worked on problems together, and we've shared victories and joys, and to have you all here today is a very deep treasure to our heart, and thank you all for coming. Some of you have come a long ways and made a sacrifice to be here, and I want you to know how much it means to us to have you here. And before I bypass it, I want to express our deep gratitude to our kids, our children. I want to express my appreciation to Norm. He was responsible for providing the beautiful dinner that we all enjoyed today. I knew he wouldn't want me to say that, but I didn't think it should bypass, and it exemplifies how deeply we appreciate the love and the thoughtfulness and the character of our children. That's a big joy to our life, to see the Lord using and blessing our children and them serving God's people and serving the Lord. That's one of the greatest joys that I think any parent can experience.
I'd like to say before it gets real serious that we've had our ups and downs just like all of your families have. We've had pain, we've had divorce, we've had a lot of struggle, just like everybody else, of course. And so we didn't live in this bubble that we look like we're in today. We've had to pull through so many things, but God's always been faithful, always. I just want to tell you that. He'll never, ever leave nor forsake. And he has been so faithful during time. And I can't tell you how proud I am of my kids. Why don't you guys all stand up so people see you? Bo, Renee, and Val. You may be seated.
I want to say that you are looking at a very exceptional lady. I got the pick of the world. When a young lady marries a man that has a calling, she may not have had a calling herself, but if she marries that man, she marries that calling. This lady has stood by me, not just to assist and do her part, but God has used her in such a mighty and a wonderful way. And she has been a premier pastor's wife. She has served generously, openly. She loves people deeply. She's a real people person. I'm, to a certain extent, a little bit of a project person, but she's a people person. And she cares about you. And she is very much affected and influenced by you, your situations. And she shares your joys, but she shares your sorrows and your concerns. And she was a exceptional mother, marvelous mother, and not only to our own children, but she was open-hearted to bringing several other young people into our home for periods of time for them to finish school or help them through a difficult time. And she mothered them just like our own children. And I'm just thankful to the Lord that I've had the joy, the privilege, and the blessing of doing life's journey together with this precious lady. She is a beautiful, wonderful lady, and I thank the Lord for her.
I'm going to say something about my husband, too. This man is a rock. He is a rock. He's creative. He designed this church. He saw things happen before they happened. Did you notice there's no steps in the church? Did you notice that? That's one thing he thought of years and years ago, and now it's so handy for him because he just has, and all of our older friends, you can get in the church in and out real easily. And it's just, those are kind of little side things. Besides that, he was a fabulous speaker and preacher, and he's really been, anyway, he's tremendous. That's all I can say. It's just been a gift to this church and this community. And maybe this wouldn't be the right place to do it, but I would like the people from our church in Pendleton that are here, are they still here? Yeah. Would you stand real quickly? That was our church in Pendleton right there. That was, yeah, that's right. Paul, you were there. We built a beautiful church there on the hillside, and it was a fabulous time in our life. And then the church in Rupert. Do we have people from Rupert here that were in our church in Rupert? Yes. Oh, my goodness. Here's the crew. And their pastor actually was from this church before he went to Rupert, and the music director actually was from this church before he moved to Rupert. No more people from this church to Rupert. That's enough. And then our church in McCall, I think everybody's dead. Oh, Sharon. Oh, Sharon and Hack were with us in McCall. That's my brother's wife. Oh, my goodness. You're not dead, honey. I'm glad you're here. Oh, my goodness. That is so good. And did we do any more churches than that? I think that was it. Okay. I just got one other thing. Is it time to do it? Because we got to wind this up. Everybody's getting sleepy. The hardest, somebody had asked me this question, and that's why I'm addressing it. What's been the hardest thing for you as a person, being a pastor's wife? And the hardest thing for me was people walking out of our life without saying goodbye, or you've made me unhappy, or there's no they just drift away from you. And right now, that happens a lot, doesn't it, in all of our lives? And I found this many, many years ago, that was the hardest part for me, was having people leave us. And I found this a while ago, and I hope it's appropriate to read. What do you think, Kaylin and Jess? Is that okay? All right, Kaylin. After a while, you learn the difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. And you learn that love doesn't mean leaning, and company doesn't mean security. And you begin to learn that kisses aren't contracts and presents aren't a promise. And you begin to accept your defeats with your head up and your eyes open, with the poise of an adult, not the grief of a child. And you learn to build all your road on today because tomorrow's ground is just too uncertain for plans. And futures have a way of falling down in mid-flight. Sunshine burns if you get too much. So you plant your garden, decorate your soul instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. And you learn that you really can endure, but that you really are strong, and you really do have worth. And you learn, with every goodbye, you learn. That's a heavy-duty thing. But one thing that's never left me is every place we've been, I could go back there and love a lot of people because I haven't tore down bridges, I guess that's what. And that's one thing I love about my husband. He's always kept in any kind of fellowship, we've kept our arms open and loved a lot of people. And I just love all of you, and I'm so glad you're here. God bless you. Ministry's been wonderful. I've loved it.
Well, thank you all for coming today. You've made our day, and we appreciate it so very much. And may you be blessed. May the goodness of the Lord be upon you day by day. May your road be made smooth by the presence of the Lord with you. May your joys be full. May your sorrows be lightened by the caring of the Lord and his people. And may the love of God and the peace of his Spirit and presence always be with you. We love you dearly, and thank you so much for coming today. And it certainly has warmed our hearts, and we appreciate it so very much.
Okay. I'm gonna have you stay here. I'm gonna have you stay here, Grandma.
You guys stay here, Grandma.
I'm gonna have you stay here for a second. I'm gonna have you stay here for a second.
Stay right here, Papa.
Okay, we got one more thing. We're gonna.
Get up here.
I just want to say one thing. I want to thank you, Mom and Dad, for getting us up every Sunday morning, taking us to church, teaching us how to love God, for loving people, for teaching us how to love people. I want to thank you, Dad, that you loved us even when I made some big mistakes in life. I thought that my life was over. And when you saw me, you came and told me that God was still going to use me, that I was going to be okay, and you gave me support. You didn't make me feel like I'd failed, and I just want to say thank you. And I thank the Lord that this is not a funeral today. And I just think it's a beautiful thing that all these people can be here. And you'll know, I mean, we don't even need to have a funeral now. And I thank you for teaching us how to sing together in the car. My dad would fall asleep so bad in cars that we would sing and sing and sing, trying to keep him awake. And he loved us to comb his hair. So we'd comb my dad's hair and sing so he would stay awake. But I want to thank you for just even all the little things that you did. Thank you for being so faithful to this church. I mean, you taught us how to work hard. And Mom, thank you for being such a loving mom. And so we feel privileged that you're alive today and we're able to celebrate you. And it's a blessing from the Lord. And one thing that we've always prayed, that our parents would die with their right minds and their feet on the ground.
One out of two ain't bad.
Yes. And, you want to say something? You want to say anything? Okay. Now you guys.
Okay, so what we would like to do, I'm glad you're here. If we could have the children's spouses come up. So Uncle Steve, Uncle Lynn, and then the grandchildren. All the grandchildren come up.
Yeah, that's you, Shane.
And then the great-grandchildren. We're going to say a prayer of blessing over my grandparents. Okay. If you would like to come up and join, please do. If you feel comfortable, you can stay where you're at. Please reach out your hand to them, but we're going to pray a blessing over my grandparents. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this moment. In life, there are times when we can set milestones and we can say, remember when. And Lord, we will remember when we gathered together to honor 2 of your faithful servants who said day in and day out, in every decision, in every moment, and in every time, every struggle, and in every victory, they said, we will follow you and we will do it hand in hand together. We bless my grandparents. They have spent their lives blessing others, as is evident with this room, as is evident with the love, and is evident with the presence of the many witnesses here today, saying that we love you and we honor you. So we take a moment to bless them. We take a moment as multiple generations surround them and say that we love you and we are grateful. We are grateful for the victories. We are grateful for the good times, and we are thankful for the mistakes and for the struggles. For through the mistakes and the errors that we made, Christ was exemplified. Christ was able to make those moments redeemed. And so through that, we say thank you. Thank you both for a life well lived. Thank you for wisdom that was passed down. Thank you for knowledge that was taught. Thank you for the crafting and the building and the buildings that were built and the campgrounds that were built. But more, we are more grateful for the character and the integrity and the love and the family and the generations that were built. And so today, your family, multiple generations, your friends, and friends are the family that we get to choose. Your friends say that we love you. And those that served alongside of you, we will all join together one day, and we are looking forward to hearing those words, well done, good and faithful servants. And in that way, we thank you, Grandma and Grandpa. We thank you, Lord Jesus, for this opportunity, and we bless you. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Amen. And so it is my honor and privilege for the 47,916th time to introduce you to Mr. and Mrs. Norman and Ruby Rutzen. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. So we now have dessert. We have cake and coffee available to you back in the gym. Everything's been cleaned up and reset. We are going to be here as long as everyone wants to be here to chat, to tell stories. We highly encourage you to spend some time, tell a story yourself, tell my grandparents what 70 years has meant to them. But truly, we thank you all for being here for this event. And so please feel free to join us there. And otherwise, have safe travels. We love you. Good night.